All right, so we're finally on the last part of our wine topper here, and that's putting on a coat of paste wax. And when we feel this right now, does it feel like it almost has a nice hard surface on it? Yeah. And the nice part about the paste wax is the paste wax is going to leave it feeling like it's got a nice glassy type feeling. And sometimes the paste wax takes away a little bit of shine, but oftentimes it makes it feel nice. It does make it look nice. It's one of my favorite things to put on the project. Finn, if we take a look at this project right here in the right angle, can you see the little smudges and stuff that are still on here, fingerprints?
Yeah.
So all that stuff's kind of normal. Now, if you were to put on another coat of poly today, what would you be doing in between coats?
Still
You would be still weighing it. Why?
See, like buff it out.
It doesn't really buff it. What does it do? Why do we still oil it? What do you think?
Because there's all the debris.
Yes. So Colin had said because of all the debris, and I think what Colin's trying to say is that
All the wood chips that come on
the wood dust, yes, the wood dust that's floating in the room sits on the polyurethane when it's drying, and it gives it that prickly sandpapery type feeling. Now, Finn had asked me, he goes, should I go and steel wool this real quick? And the answer is yes and no. I said, no, don't do it. Right? The reason is because when we put the paste wax on, we're going to put the paste wax on with some steel wool. So we'll load up the steel wool pad with the paste wax, and you will put on, now it probably already has some in there, but you can put a little bit more on. And Finn, you're going to do the whole thing. You're going to go with the grain. He's going to get his big areas. He's going to try to get in the nooks and the crannies the best that he can. And do you guys remember what I like to do after we put the paste wax on? I do take a paper towel and buff it out, but there's a big step that I like to do in between those two things. And what is that? Should I grab a paper towel right now and go ahead and do it? What do? I do wait 15 minutes. And who knows what happens during that 15-minute time frame? Anybody know? Well, all right. So Noah had said it hardens. It doesn't really harden as much as it solidifies. All right, I don't even really want to say solidifies. What happens is, so the paste wax, it's not runny, but is it kind of viscous where we can scoop it out, move it around? It is. And that's because right now it has a thinning agent in it. We can smell it, can't we? And we can smell that turpentine or whatever they use in there to thin it out. So what's actually happening during that 15-minute time frame is the solvent, the thinning agent, is evaporating, just leaving behind the hardened wax. All right, so it'll feel like a candle wax. And it's kind of shiny right now, but in 15 minutes, is it going to kind of be like cloudy? Or I guess opaque would be the word? Is that what they call it, opaque? Where it's kind of like can't see through it, but you can see through it? So yeah, at that point there, that's when we would go ahead and that's when we would start buffing it out. All right, and when we buff it out, we just buff out all the smudges and it should feel like $1,000,000. All right, so looks like Finn just got a little bit more to put on. You're going to try to get in the nooks and crannies too, right? So he's going to put that on. We're probably going to wait 15 minutes. We'll wind up cutting back into the video. We'll go over him buffing it out, and we'll see what the finished product looks like. But that looks really nice. Nice small project to do, and I think it looks really sharp. So we'll cut back in here in a few minutes. All right, it's been about 15 minutes, I would say, maybe 20. And we'll take a look-see gander at her here real quick. See what it looks like, buddy. Yeah, it's starting to look a little bit cloudy. Oh, yeah, it's really cloudy, actually. So you're going to use that folded up paper towel, and you're just going to start buffing it really good. And don't be afraid to press hard. That's what really buffs it out. You press really hard. And if we notice, Finn's got a little apron down here that's pretty clean. He'll do that, that way he can put it down on his table. And not really worry about it getting scratched or anything like that, because these other tablecloths, we've been doing some pretty hard work in here, and they're starting to get a little bit boogered up. So let's take a look at it there so far. And sometimes what I do is I take it and I look in the light. So let me see that right there. So we go to buff this bad boy. You really want to press really good and hard like this. You almost want to leave it down the table. Now, do you see how it's starting to turn shiny again? And it's gonna take you a solid 5 minutes or so of buffing this bad boy out. And don't be afraid of, you know, going to a new side here too. Let's see where my finger marks are all over it. And just feel real quick where I started to buff, like that area right there. How's that feel? It's really smooth feeling? Okay. So keep buffing that out, and what we'll do is we'll probably wind up cutting back in about 5 minutes or so. We'll see exactly what it looks like, but just takes a little bit of elbow grease at this point here to really bump that wax that's kind of left down there out. And I can tell right now it's really starting to turn shiny on them, and it looks really, really nice. Let me feel that real quick. Feels even better than it looks. So, you know, it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna let him keep doing this. We'll probably come back in here in about 5 minutes and see how he's making out, and we will be in great shape. All right, Finn. So it's been about 5 minutes or so, and I'll tell you what, it looks really nice, and it feels really nice too. And a lot of times, you know, there's a few areas that we do miss from time to time. You almost can't over buff it, you know what I mean, unless we use like an electric buffer. It should squeak too when it's done. We'll see. Oh yeah. Tell you what, turkey season's in right now. We could maybe use this back in the woods to turkey call, you know what I mean? That looks pretty nice. I'll tell you what, so if you guys want to take a look at Finn's before you leave, that way you see exactly what it looks like. But his looks good. He can also, if he gets any finger smudges on it, he keeps going over it. It's gonna look mighty fine sitting on the counter at home. I think it looks like a spectacular project. You did a real nice job on that. So good job, buddy. That's all there is to it. The paste wax.
Yep.